Hello, good evening, sir. Today I'm discussing about REST API and what is how to design REST API and what is the user of REST API. Firstly, it stands for what is REST API? REST stands for Representational State Transfer Application Programming Interfaces, which means REST API. What is API? Firstly, a question about what is API. Now, API stands for Application Programming Interface, in which means a software connected to another software with the help of some APIs like that. If we are using a weather app in our mobile, in our system, in our website, in our web application, this is how to connect and different countries weather. So we are calling our weather app API. So there is a weather stack. They are if we are going to our system and the website napi.com, then we are firstly exploring on this weather stack. What is weather? Now, this is weatherstack.com, in which we have different types of API in which we are using in our system to detect different countries weather. Now, firstly, we are exploring on this. Just a moment. Is it yep? Okay, okay. Now, is it okay? Now, go to our paint. Now, this let us assume this is our database. This is our database, and this is our JSON data, JavaScript object orientation data. This is our API. This is our API. Now, with the help of database and JSON data, we are exploring a link or programming interface which is called API. How to use this? Firstly, go to our. We are going to our. This is our dog.co. Dog.co. Sorry. Now, this are data. This is our random. We are selecting on this. How to check if our API is correct or not? Firstly, we are installing. I'm sorry, installed, and we are using Postman. I'm sharing the screen of Postman. You not come here right now. We are going to Postman. We are opening Postman. Now we are going to and select also Postman. This and this. And we are sharing on our system now. This is our Postman. Now we fetch our API. Now we are sending here. Now it's showing some error. And what type of error I'm showing? We are showing this is a get request, port request. Posting is for posting data to server and getting data from server. They are Booyah. Now go to our browser. This is our message, which means our this API is correct. Now, now after one how to method for using API, these are 5 types of method on which we using API. Firstly, separate API into logical resources, and second one export structure resource is URLs, and third one is use HTTP methods, and then fourth one is send data in JSON file. Now fifth is be stateless, which means stateless API. Now resources. Object or representation of something which has data associated. Example, tools user, which means if we go to a browser now, again going to 3schools.com, this is our home page. You go to our different type of, let us assume if we're going to our HTML. Now this this is our sources which will be having go to our targeting to next page. Now if we are going to another one, if we are going to just like a JavaScript, now this is our different type of resource. Now we go to Python and this is our different type of resource. So we in a web application or in a website we're having a different types of resources and different types of methods and APIs we are using. Firstly, then we are going to our display API. Now, second one is the structured base URL, which means if we're targeting, this is our structured base URL, which is having only w3schools.com. This is our domain, and this is our normal. If we're deleting on this, and we are entering, it shows you our home page. Now, if we go to our Python different types of pages, we go to RWD file, explore design. Now, then see it is our this structured base is not, it is not structured base URL. So if you're going to our project API folder, now the here is contact. This is called our, now it is showing this is our domain name, and then this is our API endpoint, which means this is our API. This is our only well. This is our API endpoint, which means API and point. This is our API endpoint, which are we using. Now after that, we are going to our system. Sorry for showing the. Now we are going to our system. We are using different types of, we are using different types of, no, sorry, third one is HTTP method. There are different types of HTTP method we are using. Firstly, we go to our API documentation. Now HTTP method we are using is like a get, post, request, response, put, fetch, and different types of HTTP methods. These are different types of HTTP methods we are using. Now we are going to like that. We are using on this the middleman.com and .com and tours. So this is our this is our HTTP method, which we are targeting any link or any website or web application. There are different types of requests like get, post, put, fetch, delete. Now we go to a paint. Now we creating a new file. Don't save, creating a new file. Now we're exploring this. This is our web application. Get, post, associated with the These tools are associated with database or server. Now third one is different from here. Now we are mentioning these names. Tell it. Now now we are explaining on this. Now that's the moment. What are we going with that? Now we are designing our architecture. Now we taking the answer. We are thinking about doing the wrong thing. Now 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 this is enough. Now firstly mentioning name here and exploring on this. What is this? What is this? Is a server. Now this is server. When we using what is get request? What is get? To get a request to access my data and data from server, which means this is our server, and then we are applying a get request, and we are applying get request, which means it requesting to server to showing it data which they required, which that user required, and which any of user required in any will requesting to server. This request get request used for accessing the data from that server, which means if you're going to a browser and search facebook.com, in which if we request to a browser, we request to from that facebook.com, then browser go to server and server send response to our browser, just like that. We are showing this architecture again. This is our user, this is our browser, and this is our server. Now your server, browser, client. Now if we user accessing the data to if we user accessing the data to and requesting to data to server and server so browser, we enter the data which they required. If the user want facebook.com, if user want facebook.com from browser, then browser accessing the request and send to Now we send to server, and server accept is request and send to request to a browser as well as client, and it shows and and send the request, and then user get facebook.com from server by browser. Now this is our get request data. This is our get request architecture. This is our get request architecture. How to accessing the data from get request. Now post request, which means what is post request? Post request, which means we entering the data to our server, where if we are going to post in this as if we are showing on this, if a user access to the server and if user access not accessing, if user after facebook.com, then user enter his email ID and password and then accept it, then login, then post it will get to a Facebook server, then it is post to our system and gets our ID, which means client send post request to our server, which means our Facebook server, then Facebook will send request to client and then we get our ID. So now this is our post request, and third one is mm, put and patch request, which means if client user after entering our Facebook after a user after entering our its Facebook ID. Now, if he wants to delete his Facebook DP and Facebook and the different type of he wants to delete Facebook in Facebook any post. Now here he goes to a put and then put or patch word, which means these both requests are used for these both requests are used for upgrading the data. Both requests are used for updating the data. Updating the data. This means updating the data. Now, after that, last request is our delete request, which means if we user want to delete our Facebook ID and Facebook data, then user wants to delete it. Delete request to Facebook server, and then Facebook server deletes its data. So this is our Facebook. This is our get request, post request, put and patch request, and delete request. Now, this sequence performs CRUD operations. Which CRUD operation, which means create, read, update, and delete. C stands for create, which means post request. Post request, which means login and password, and posting request, and we are creating our ID. After that, R stands for read, which means get request, which means reading the data from our Facebook server. After U stands for update, which is put and patch request. We are using on update request. Now D stands for delete, which is deleting our data and anything which we are using our server. Now, these are some basics of HTTP method and different types of APIs. Now we go to our browser. We go to our VS Code. Now we are using index.js. Library is here. API.js. We put here. Okay. Now, firstly, we using API. So we are using Express. Now, firstly, we exploring Express class from Express module. We are importing modules. Now we go to now I enter now we calling API, and we are now creating object in Express class, which means Express. Now it's okay. Now we're describing our port is 2000. These are enough. Now in this model we using file system, that we are going firstly using, and we are exploring file system module. After that, firstly we getting listen for, firstly we are getting a server. So firstly basically we use API to listen on which port we are using port function. We're using function added a callback function. Now console.log. Now we are exploring on this way, firstly using the template literals, and we are using server is starting at, now we are using port request, which means this is your port. This is our, we are explaining again and again, we are mentioning here. What is it? Dollar. This is ECMAScript 6, which means ECMA 6. Now exploring on this. Now firstly we hosting a, we are using a file system. Firstly we const, we using file name, we are using file name is here user equals to. Now after that we are using, creating a data file which we will use users.json file. Now after that the JSON file, name of user, after comma after that writing comma. Now country, no country. So firstly we are using on this, firstly we are using fs dot build file synchronization. Now after that, on which link, on which server portal we are using. So firstly we are using slash API slash user users. Now we're creating a request, and this is request response. No, it's firstly we are using, what is this? Is a file system, so we are exploring. So then there's a name of our file we are written now. Users.json, okay, users.json file. Now after that, this is our users.json file. After that, we convert it into a JSON file. So Now control F is save. This is converted to a JSON file. Now a get request which are using API dot get request by user. Now on which in which URL API slash users. After that we're creating this, and then after that we're creating request and response arrow function. Request and response arrow function. So it's basically named as a callback function. After that, we're firstly exploring here what is the status code. Status is your 200 is your status. Now JSON. Now we are using this. Now firstly we describing our what is our status. Status status success. After that, now second thing we are using data. We also use the user. We are using finally user. We are firstly using is users. Okay. Now control S to save. Now this is our address we are on which URL we are our file is showing our data. Now this is a request and response callback function. After that we are using status code, which means our status code just like that our on which status we are using status code, and then after that we are JSON file. The status is success. And the time we are using a user file from our users dot is equal to JSON dot parse and fs read file synchronous, and JSON dot parse we are using for converting our file into JSON file. After that we are exploring this. Now we are going to go to our terminal. We are starting our terminal. Node api.js. So we're starting in 2000 port. Now go to our 0.0.1. That port is 2000. After that we're using API slash users. After entering it, it's showing some error. Never showing some error where we get an error. Okay. So we're forgetting about that. If we go to our JSON file, is okay. Parsing file is okay. So we are explaining access is okay. And the board importing file system module. When what type of are we using? Okay, go to checking. What type of okay. Okay, well, now this is your error. Okay, let's save. Now node API.js. So it's starting to a server. Now we go to our okay. This is our get request. This is our okay. This is everything okay. Firstly, go to our browser and checking what is wrong with that. One is to port 2000 slash API slash users. What is the error that user is everything okay? Or status code is okay? Is using API.js, API.get first, API users, the question is will update their status code is everything is okay. And what is created file is user.json. Okay. Now firstly we're checking our server file. Okay, this is a normal file. Now we go to a JSON file. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Find the file in our system. Now it's showing some error and where are we getting? I'm not explaining on that page. Where we getting error? Now firstly it's changing our port. Here if we are changing our port, this port of the already used. Now we go to value line control as you say. So we started at 4,000. 4,000. Cannot help the user. What is the behind this error? We're not cutting your error. Okay. Okay. Customers. Okay. Everything okay. Bio showing some error. API is changing our name to a app, not app, only app. No user, no API user, app. Okay. So file recognition is right. Now control S to save. Control C. Now our server is started. Okay, not that over this is we are explaining normally require JS here. Okay, this type of error we're getting. So firstly, changing our name. Data validation. Users. data one to JSON controller save. Where is an error you are facing? Like can't get where is an error. Okay, we are getting error. Maybe it's here. No, everything is okay. Data, users, we are getting a port, error function is okay, callback is okay. We got a data.json file we are building here. Mm-hmm. What type of results we couldn't get? Okay, yeah, dependencies, express dependencies, okay. We are installing Express. We are already have file system modules. Read files mixing. Okay, everything okay. I think couldn't get error. System file is okay. Everything okay. Mm. It's okay. Data is okay. Not really easy ठीक है. कौन step express okay. Skill results are enough for me. Exploring on this episode tomorrow. Just a moment referee still using on this, but I couldn't categorize my error. It's showing some of these problems. We are going to what new file and create showing you what another file, step by file. If we are running on this, we are showing running on the this is a running on the correct. So now where I getting error, we couldn't get in the error. So we are for me and we are coming back again in this video. We are showing error. Thank you, sir.